the main focus in the offseason was getting everybody aligned into the culture. That it was when you had all these new players, yes, you want to get bigger, yes, you want to get faster, but the most important thing was getting everybody on the same page from a cultural standpoint.
Pay heed, all who enter, and beware this podcast. That's right. This is the Pay Heed podcast on the Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Nick Springer here with Kevin Flaherty. Of course, we're brought to you by Emprise Bank, your partner in all things possible. And today we are going to be talking about day one of fall camp for KU. Kicked off today, July 24th on a Thursday, starting earlier than most other programs around the country because of the fact that Kansas has a week 0 game. And so because of that, KU was allowed to start their fall camp earlier. But we did hear from Lance Leipold and Matt Gildersleeve about how, yeah, it's maybe a benefit you get to start fall camp a week earlier, but at the end of the day, the time frame is still the same. And actually, because you're starting a week earlier at fall camp and playing a game a week earlier, you actually lose a week of what would be otherwise weight training and conditioning as well. So lots of interesting details about that from those guys, and we'll have a chance to hear everything Lance Leipold said coming up later on in the show today. I'll also have a chance to hear from both Jalon Daniels and Dean Miller, who spoke at the podium after day one of fall camp. Of course, Kevin and I wrapped up our season preview. If you missed any of that, you can check out our previous shows. We did it in 3-game segments, so there's 4 different shows of us talking about the season for Kansas, predicting each game, what our thoughts are, and where we think Kansas may end up. So if you missed any of that pre-fall camp season preview talk, absolutely be sure to check that out. And there is no better time than right now to be subscribed, or if you haven't, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be pumping out tons of fall camp content. You'll absolutely want to follow us on social media, on Twitter at PayheedKCSN. On our YouTube channel, we're going to be throwing up lots of video content. And of course, for the show, you can follow it on YouTube, and you can also follow it on audio, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. So please subscribe on our YouTube channel, subscribe on the audio side, so you can get access to all the content we have that we're pushing out. And you'll absolutely want to stay subscribed on YouTube, especially because you can comment and join in on the conversation with other KU fans. And also during the season, we're going to be doing live YouTube post-game shows immediately following KU football games. And you want to be subscribed so you can catch those on Saturdays after KU games as well. Kevin, today was the first day of fall camp. Bright and early, we were out there to observe Kansas at the start of fall camp. Had a chance to hear from Lance Leipold, from Matt Gildersleeve, the strength and conditioning coach, and Jalon Daniels and Dean Miller. I guess just first off, where do you want to start with this thing, man? What was your sort of broad takeaway from day one?
Did you like school, like growing up?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I would say
I did. I was one of those. I really liked school and learning and all that stuff. But
I would say
like the first day of school, right?
Yeah, I would say my relationship with high school was that as I was in high school, I was like, okay, this is fine. And then like once I left high school and like was not in high school anymore, I was like, wow, that was actually terrible. Like, Jesus, that was horrible. But at the time I didn't mind it. So, but
Well,
you're right.
It
Yeah,
didn't have to be just high school, like grade school or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it felt like the first day of school, and I mean that in a positive way. There's a lot of excitement around the Kansas football program right now, I think, for a few different reasons. One, obviously, that everybody will bring up is the new stadium and all the things that they've done there. We did hear today that they're going to try and get out there and play on that field some in the next few weeks. Hopefully, on August 1st was what Lance Leipold said. They'd like to get out there for a night practice. But I think even beyond that, Nick, one of the things that sort of resonated throughout today, whether it was us watching the little bit of practice that we get to watch, whether it was Lance Leipold saying it, whether it was Gildersleeve saying it, whether it was one of the players saying it, is there's an energy around this football program right now because of the competition level, because they don't have as many quote unquote position battles settled. And that includes some starting spots. That includes Lance Leipold was talking about on the offensive line. Hey, there's a couple spots that are maybe not settled, but also they're looking for swing guys who can play multiple positions. And so even who's going to get reps in the various, rotations and things like that are kind of up for grabs. And so it really feels there's a different feel this year than there was a year ago. A year ago, you had the expectations and all of those things. This year, Gildersleeve described it as kind of a chip on the shoulder for the team, a competitive aspect to this team that really kind of gets back maybe an underdog mentality to what this program has done well over the years. And it was easy to see that, I feel like, even the little bit of practice that we got to watch.
Something that jumped out to me was, and really hearing from Jalon Daniels kind of reaffirm this, was just the general sense of health. I mean, the team is in a pretty good spot heading into fall camp. We've talked about it. Last year, Jalon Daniels they were taking it very slow, and so he wasn't really fully 100% throughout fall camp. And it was great to hear him talk about where he's at mentally, and there was a lot of discussion about, Jalon Daniels, he has sort of that game day focus to him that he's had in the past, but instead of it being on game days, he has it every day, which I think serves to underscore maybe how locked in he is and recognizing, this is the last go around, this is the last chance, and there's a lot on the line in terms of driving the Kansas football program forward, in terms of Jalon Daniels' personal legacy at Kansas, in terms of Jalon Daniels' personal aspirations to play beyond Kansas. There's a lot hanging on the next 4 months plus of what Jalon Daniels is going to be remembered as, and what he may be in the future in pursuit of a professional career beyond playing at Kansas. And so to have him fully healthy, to have him out there moving 100%, Lance Leipold made a point to make sure that was very clear, because, just to get out in front of questions about it. Right. And obviously I think fans, rightly or wrongly, will still question, where he's at. But I think from what we've seen, from what we've heard, he is 100% ready to roll, and definitely has his swagger back, definitely has that confidence just from hearing from him. You'll have a chance to hear everything he said coming up later on the show. But yeah, it seems like he's ready to go. And then more broadly across the board, Bryce Foster is really the only guy that I think is somebody who's going to be limited a little bit after he had some offseason surgery in terms of getting revved up during fall camp. But beyond that, you talk about the competition. It's great competition, and it's not competition because, we know a guy's going to be down, and so there's guys around him are saying this is a chance for us to prove ourselves. No, it is everybody is pretty much fully healthy heading into this, which is going to only further serve to boost that level of competition and let the cream rise to the top for this program as they get ready to kick off the season.
Yeah, one of the things that was kind of a recurring theme was a new lease on life, right? In terms of specifically, I think that expression was used about Daniel Highshaw and how he has stepped up this offseason with Devin Neal not being there and seeing the opportunity there. It was also used with LeSean Williams, talking about how he had kind of come through. With Jalon, you mentioned it. One of the things they said where he's taken the biggest leap has been the mentality and the way that he approaches things. And I think when you look at the program as a whole, last year's 5-7 season is kind of in the rearview mirror. For one thing, there's a lot of new players this year. But I think even beyond that, I think you're seeing a lot of these guys almost approaching this year as whether it's the last go round, like Dean Miller, talked about it, and you'll get to hear him talk about those thoughts, or it's somebody saying, hey, I've got an opportunity here that maybe I didn't have in the past. I think that new lease on life, the new way to approach all of these things. And the other thing, Nick, that we heard a lot about today was leadership and the way that certain guys are leading who have been in the program for a while, but also the way that certain players like Justice Finkley, Emmanuel Henderson, guys who DJ Graham being another one, guys who haven't been in the program that long because of the fact that they transferred in, are finding their leadership legs as well. And so at least for where they're at right now, I believe Lance Leipold used the word pleased to describe where they're at now. Very early on, obviously a lot of work yet to go, but at the same time, they're saying a lot of the things that you want to hear coming off of the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. In terms of on-field stuff, it was day one. Like there wasn't anything really groundbreaking happening, and a lot of the guys we'd had the chance to get a little bit of a look at back in the spring, and
Yep.
and there were some guys where you could tell that hey, he put in 6 weeks of weight training and conditioning, and his body looked different. You know, Tommy Dunn was the guy that was pointed out as being one of those guys. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it was day one. It's guys getting back out there. I think there's sort of this. You mentioned the first day of school vibe. I kind of would say that there's just sort of the sense of like, you're just trying to get loose. You're just trying to get it
Yeah.
back into it with the team, with everybody. So in terms of specifically on the field, really the only there's not really grand takeaways to have from the first day, I guess, from what we saw, because it's a lot of the guys were already on campus. There were some new faces that weren't here in the spring, guys like Bryson Canty and Jaden Doss, who has literally been a member of the team for what, a week, 5 days?
Yeah, a few days. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not even a week.
He arrived here real recently.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of new faces, there are a couple of guys, but yeah, this is just more of the team getting ready to start building into the season. And I think the biggest priority, to me at least, is one, health, two, that level of competition that we talked about, and then three, which you alluded to, is seeing how this team is starting to gel together, not even just on the field, but also off the field, which today was a good day of hearing a lot about how these guys have come together. I mean, it was said today, 50 new scholarship players, right? And during our preview shows, there were a number of different Big 12 schools around from the conference that we talked about that have just as many, if not more. And when talking about the schools, the general sense is those are real question marks, right? And I think it's fair to look at Kansas and say that, yeah, there are going to be some question marks, absolutely. But when you have the leadership that it seems like Kansas has at this point, and the culture that it seems like Kansas has at this point, and guys like Jalon Daniels and Dean Miller who have been in the program for a long time. Jalon Daniels talked about how there's only 3 or 4 guys on the team that have been here since 2020. It's Jalon Daniels and Daniel Highshaw are 2 of those guys. And so these are guys that have been in college football for a long time, but have been at Kansas specifically for a long time. I think it's one thing to say, hey, Justice Finkley has a lot of college experience, versus saying Daniel Highshaw and Jalon Daniels have a lot of college experience all at Kansas over the last 4+ years, and a lot of it obviously with Lance Leipold. So there shouldn't be anybody that knows the program culture more than those guys.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the culture, because that was a big talking point for Gildersleeve, where he said, the main focus in the offseason was getting everybody aligned into the culture. That it was, when you had all these new players, yes, you want to get bigger, yes, you want to get faster, but the most important thing was getting everybody on the same page from a cultural standpoint. He made a reference basically about how everybody had kind of assimilated from that standpoint, and made a reference to, it's a lot of the guys that we recruited too. He said, we're not recruiting the best player, we're recruiting the best player for Kansas. And it sounds like, whether it's from Leipold, whether it's from Gildersleeve, whether it's from the players, it sounds like they're pretty happy with this group of transfers coming in, not just from, hey, this guy's talented, hey, he could start at this position or whatever else, but you hear people talking about them personally first. And I think that has been a big thing for him. And I'll be honest with you, Nick, not a whole lot you could tell from what we got to watch. One of the things that I think you could tell a little bit was it was pretty smooth. There weren't guys looking around like, hey, what do I do here? And I think that's something that has come a long way since, I think, the start of spring, with guys being in the program for that long.
By the way, not to add any fuel to the fire on the Emmanuel Henderson hype, but it was said that Emmanuel Henderson is the only player that had reached the same level of, I think the term was velocity, same velocity as Jason Bean in terms of speed. So we're talking about a player that maybe might have that level of game-breaking speed, which would be...
Keep in mind, Jason Bean, they're talking about shorts and T-shirts. Jason Bean in full pads was at 22.4 or 22.5. I forget which.
I mean,
on the touchdown run against Oklahoma, it was the fastest run by any quarterback in college football that year.
That's what I was about to say. Is all I can think about when I think of Jason Bean's speed is that play. where if you were to freeze frame that play when Jason Bean's at like the 30-yard line, it's like, okay, he's going to get like 10 yards, 15 yards. And then you play it and it's like, I don't even know how he did that. Like it's truly remarkable. So not to say that Emmanuel Henderson is going to have that level of speed, but it sounds like they are very excited about the speed that he does possess, at least right now, which is really cool to see. So, okay, before we take a break and get into Lance Leipold and Jalon Daniels and D. Miller, anything real quick else you wanted to touch on here?
No, I think that you saw and heard what you kind of wanted to see and hear from day one. I'm really interested to see how this camp plays out, though, with so many sort of open spots, Nick. And I do think that you made a good point in that the team chemistry, I think, at this point for a roster that hasn't been together that long for a lot of them does seem really high.
Yeah. And also, you can't win a position battle on day one of fall camp.
That's true.
So keep that in mind as well. Okay, we did have a chance to hear from Lance Leipold. He spoke at length on Thursday today after the first day of fall camp, and we'll get into that and more coming up next. Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network. Emprise Bank has been with us from the beginning. They were our first network partner, and they believed in the vision of what we were building from the start. I can't speak to any other banks or companies and how they operate, but I can tell you from personal experience and based on the growth of the network you're listening to right now, that if you have banking needs, call our friends at Emprise Bank. We've worked with so many great people there over the years, from Vicky and Aggie to Andrea, Lori, Jackie, Deb, and Aaron, and not to mention so many others that not just supported KC Sports Network, but supported our KCSN Foundation as well. But the best thing that I know is that if I have a question or a problem, no matter how dumb the question is, I know who I'm going to call and who I'm going to talk to, and I know that I'm getting an answer from someone that I can trust, and I know that person is there to help us. That's why Emprise Bank has always been and continues to be our partner in Possible, and they can be yours too. You just have to reach out. If you have a banking need, whether it's business or personal, hit me up. I will connect you directly with the same people that have helped us build KCSN, and that's our friends at Emprise Bank.
Folks, there's nothing that beats relaxing on a hot summer day and watching some baseball. And there's no simpler way to get in on the action than by downloading the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. And the best part, Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6, and right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Bonus picks expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
This is the Paid Podcast on the Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Nick Springer here with Kevin Flaherty. We're brought to you by Emprise Bank, your partner in all things possible, member FDIC. Once again, I would encourage you, if you have not already, please subscribe, Apple, Spotify, and on our YouTube channel at Kansas Jayhawks KCSN. Follow us on Twitter at Paid KCSN for more semi-blurry pictures of fall camp from myself and from Kevin. He's sort of become the expert at that, so we'll see people like the pictures. Some people don't like the pictures, so that's interesting. You know, had some those darn rascal Missouri fans were in the replies, just doing what they do. So don't be like them. But yeah, please follow us on Twitter as well for more of that great content. And again, you want to subscribe on YouTube as well for video content, as well as our shows. And also, once we get into the season, we're going to be doing live YouTube post-game shows on our YouTube channel as well. So subscribe over there also. Speaking of video, we had a chance to hear from Lance Leipold on Thursday morning after the first practice of fall camp. Here's everything that the Kansas football head coach had to say.
Yeah, just how would you assess the first day of camp overall? I'm very pleased, great attitude. They've been anxious to get out there and play for real, and love the attitude and the hustle so far, but threw a lot at them. It's a good first day, a first step. Got a lot to work on yet, but I like where it's trending.
Lance talked a lot in the spring about how impressed you were by all the new faces and how they fit quickly and just seem comfortable right away. One, what advantages does that give to you at the start of camp, so you don't have to go through that or even wonder about that?
Yeah, and on that, Matt, certain positions, again, you could see that guys are definitely more comfortable this time than they were the first days of spring and things like that. Again, we're not spending time repeating ourselves or going back or our things that are important in this program and are really non-negotiables about being where you're supposed to be, making all appointments. We're not spending all this extra time and energy with whether it be extra things of discipline or things like that you go through, or kind of trying to pound a point home of any sort, that we can keep moving forward. And it's been really good. In fact, as Matt Gildersley went over some stuff from the summer. Even on our academic front, we didn't have any missed appointments, missed classes, doing those things, and he's got comparative numbers to what we walked into and how we continue to kind of whittle that down. And it says a lot about our leadership and getting guys to understand, but it also shows we're very pleased with the type of player that we've been able to bring in through the portal.
Yeah, and the second part of that is some of those guys are old, just portal-wise, right, and been around and vets and all that. But have you seen, as they kind of were comfortable right away in spring, and then now you don't even have to worry about it, have you seen those guys kind of shift into leadership type of roles? Is that possible?
There's been guys that definitely have done that, and probably one that's probably stands out is Justice Finkley. Is really just in his mannerisms and how he's gone through things, and well respected by the team early here, and he's kind of moved into one of those roles. Lyric Rawls is another one, and I think that has done that. DJ Graham has done a great job there as well. So we have guys, as always, when I mention some, you end up leaving somebody out of it, but all in all, I'm pleased with where it's at, and I wouldn't be surprised as we move towards some things at the end of camp when we announce captains, that there could be a guy like that in that group because of how they've fit in, but also gained respect throughout the locker room.
Coach, kind of building off that, with all the new faces and playing a week earlier, is there added importance on these couple of weeks that you can't figure out in the spring that you can really drill in right now?
Yeah, I think again, I'm sure the question's coming somewhere in this interview, but Jalon's out there full speed, taking every rep, doing everything, getting that back on track, and the continuity that we missed last fall camp is definitely there, and getting people working together, timed up. We have good continuity, and Bryce Foster's not practicing right now, but will be shortly. Getting all that kind of going here as fast as we can. The thing about it is, starting today still doesn't change the amount of practices before we kick it off for real. It's down the road is what really makes this a longer season. So preparation time, where it really kind of makes it difficult, is it's one less week of summer weight room and conditioning time. So you've got to balance that in all your thoughts on how we're going about it, our workloads and things like that.
Lance, do you have any more specifics nailed down on when you might practice inside the stadium?
Say that again.
Do you have any more specifics nailed down on when you might practice in the stadium?
We have a hopeful date coming up here soon. I don't know if I can share that with you yet, but we're hoping here within, what do we have? Can we share that yet or not? I don't know. We could probably do that.
Yeah.
They're telling us, okay, yeah. Secret, you'll probably be sitting up on the hill videotaping. Yeah, we're hoping for August 1st. It will be a night practice in there is what our goal is right now. And met with, we had a meeting Travis and myself and Matt Gildersleeve met with the turf people, and it seemed things are very much on schedule and to point, and again, everything else logistically with the stadium that will allow us to get in there and do some work. To what extent can we get in the coaches' boxes? Can we do other things? That'll be determined as we get closer. But yes, we're hoping to get multiple practices in there before kickoff.
In the spring, you talked a little bit about the decision to move practice up and have sort of a longer conditioning period after the spring. Have you seen any big jumps from certain guys or anything with that?
Yeah, I went through all those numbers yesterday. I mentioned Lyric Rawls is maybe one. I'm just trying to remember all the bodies that they take these before and after pictures. But even some of our transfers, depending on their situations about what they, LeSean Williams is probably another one who didn't finish the season at Iowa. To get them back in the groove, in a full conditioning program where it's at, where their strength numbers. There are probably some guys that really stand out. I'm missing a bunch of others, as I know, but there have been some guys that have taken some really nice gains. Jacoby Davis is a guy that really has changed and matured in a lot of ways. Had a really good summer for us. A guy hopefully to continue to compete in the secondary, but hopefully get on some special teams and do some things like that. And it's great to see guys like that mature along the way.
And then Jaden Doss, a little bit of a late addition.
Yeah.
Kind of how did that process go through, and what have you noticed in the couple days he's been here?
Well, yeah, and through these things, that through this last portal thing that just came up because of roster designations and things like that, we'd heard that Jaden was going to enter the portal. Once he entered the portal, obviously, conversations with him, with his high school coaches, family. We are very much at the top of his list of options, and it continued to grow as the few days went by. Had other people that were involved in his life and ways in recruiting in the past and things that gave us a heads up. We reached out to Nebraska just to do our background checks, and everything was very favorable, just in a situation where a little bit more logjam than what he had hoped, and nothing on the good young man who's just looking to reset and go. So again, for us to add another player from being local and those things is important to us as we continue to do it, and a player of his caliber that we feel has a bright future and continues to develop is just too good an opportunity to pass up.
Bryson Canty reported over the summer he was one that wasn't around for spring. What did you see from him over the summer, and what are your hopes for him?
He's a big body, great, mature young man, works hard. He's picking up things really well. Didn't go through spring anywhere, so again, trying to be cautious that between conditioning and practice, like expectations on how we go through, it's kind of gone through. But again, really like the young man. Think he's going to fit in really well to what we do.
And with Bryce missing the first however long week of practice or so, what does that mean for the offensive line as a whole, and what sort of opportunities does that create for other players?
A guy like Tyler Mercer is going to get a lot of work. Again, Tyler played a lot in North Texas last year. Probably one of those guys you're talking about development-wise that, he and Jack Tanner played as true freshmen, but both continue to need to gain size and strength, and they know that, and they accepted that at their end of the year evaluations really well, and it worked on it. And I've seen Tyler handle that well today. He's got a good understanding of what we're doing. He doesn't flinch and let things get too big in the moment. So be a great opportunity for him. Amir Herring's probably also going to get some work. We have some other guys that probably have some opportunities. We continue to try to evaluate what that starting group and rotational guys will be.
Just following up on that, last year during fall camp, you guys made some adjustments to the O-line, ended up working out well. What would it take with the position battles going on to kind of come out of this year's fall camp feeling good about where you're at?
I'm sorry, what would?
Yeah, just what will it take to come out of this? What do you want to see in the next month?
I probably a group that's going to work well together, obviously, and you know, who's going to establish himself, you know, probably at the two positions where it might be a little more unsettled, be right tackle and left guard. But whoever those guys will be, and equally important, because as we find out, who else is going to be the movable pieces rotationally, how many will it be? And you know, I think Leipold does an excellent job as a teacher and developer in the classroom with our players and on the field. And you know, everyone's looking for offensive linemen these days, and I feel very confident that as we break camp, we're going to feel good about more than 5 guys and be able to play with a lot more than 5 if needed.
Hey Lance, a late addition was Enrique Cruz. What do you expect from him? What do you see?
Yeah, you know, Enrique's a fine young man. I'm sure he's played his share of football while at Syracuse. Didn't play as much last year. Again, that maturity and understanding, but has played a lot of Power 4 snaps, and again, brought in here to compete to win a starting job, and he understands that. And he's, you know, when you guys get a chance to meet with him, he's you know, great personality, nice young man, fits into what we're doing. And it kind of goes back to that earlier thing about some of the newcomers. You know, we don't have guys coming in trying to think that it's all going to revolve around them. They want to be contributors. They want to, you know, work hard and go do it. I see Enrique being one of those guys.
There's been so many years where people look back over KU and there's not a lot of depth at D-tackle, and it looks like that's definitely changed. What's your thoughts on that group?
Yeah, you know, equally with what's happening, you know, I talked about the O-line needs and stuff, and that seemed to be a big thing in the portal this second window that we had. But in all my years of coaching, everyone's always looking for D-linemen. You're always wanting more bodies. You're always trying to develop and go. We're fortunate to have a fair amount of guys that have played, and you know, between DJ and Tommy and Blake have played the most football. Keenan Caldwell's played. Keenan's had, you know, I talk about guys, Keenan had a great summer, and it's really been fun to watch him kind of mature and grow through the process, you know, through his time here. Gage Keys has played a fair amount of football, but the one that's probably improved the most in strength and other things and what he's doing as a young man is Marcus Kelvin. So we feel good about those things, and as we know, it's a rotational position, and it's a physical position to play, and guys wear down as the season goes, so we're going to need everybody.
Coach, obviously all the players and coaches have been around all this construction on a daily basis. But could you offer some perspective on today being the official opening of camp in the shadow of this new stadium, some perspective on where things have come in your time here?
It's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed right now. My wife said it to me last night. She asked me if I washed my car, and I said no, and then I hadn't washed it like for a week. But with all the construction and things blowing out, my car was always dirty, and washing it would just be dirty the next day. So the progression of what's happening has been a nice thing of changing that. We're getting closer to this thing being completed. Is that the months and year that it's gone through, but it's been neat. It's a great backdrop. You know, we see the photos all the time. Our guys are excited. I mentioned with going on the field yesterday with Travis, and that you know, some of our players, you know, leaked out there and stuff just off to the corner and started taking videos. Guys are excited, and I hope our fans are excited about it, because it is definitely a game-changing structure for us. It's a program statement. It's everything that's needed. It's going to be exciting. You know, I think it'll be something as we get closer and we go practice in there and it becomes a reality. It's going to be something special.
Thank you.
Coach, what's the running back room going to look like in the post-Devin Neal era, and what's Daniel Highshaw playing today?
Yeah, you know, you know, glad you asked that, because you know, watching Daniel Highshaw kind of emerge out of the shadow of Devin and never taking anything away from, we all know what a special person Devin was for this program and university and community, but it's been also invigorating, I think is probably a good word, to watch Daniel Highshaw kind of see that he has this opportunity, and this program believes in him, and he's become a more vocal leader. He's worked on being a leader in many different ways. So I'm excited for him, and really, I say, much like I say about Jalon, guys who have battled injuries in this program and things, you're extra pulling for them in those instances. LeSean Williams, I think, is a great compliment and gives us two physical running backs, and LeSean's one that would admit that, he's kind of told us he's got a new lease on football and everything, and really probably didn't come here in the greatest of shape, and really had to, from where he was in practice one in the spring to where he ended up, and now where he's at is really leaps and bounds. So I'm really excited for him. Harry Stewart's back practicing today. Johnny Thompson and then John Kelly, Justin Thurman are two young players that have a lot of ability. It's all new to them, but they're hustling and coachable, and I think it's going to be a position of depth.
With the departure of Kobe, Mello, and others from the room, the cornerback room is very different from previous years. What are you hoping to see with some of the additions you brought in and some of the guys who come back?
Again, I think it'll be a competitive room. I think we were excited when we recruited Jalen Todd and Austin Alexander and what they were going to bring, and they have not disappointed us in any way. Obviously, I think maybe expectations of the program and where we're at is different than it was in the 21 season when those guys were playing as freshmen. But I do feel there's probably some similarities of maybe having some younger guys. But DJ Graham is an experienced player, and he's played a lot of college football, and he's going to definitely add to that room with experience and abilities. Jaleel Hurley, again, he's got a lot of ability and talent. He's got great length. And so I look for that to be a position that it's going to be competitive, and it's going to be multiple guys playing. And I mentioned some of the other guys early as well, that Jacoby Davis, Croft, and a few others will also add in there, if not on special teams. So it's a room. Yeah, you get comfortable with guys that have played tons and tons of football for you, but I don't think the cupboard's bare there.
That was Lance Leipold speaking with the media after day one of fall camp on Thursday, as we record on Thursday afternoon on the first day. A lot was said there about various different topics. I liked what he said about the stadium situation. You mentioned earlier in the show, Kevin, August 1st is the target date for practicing in the stadium. And just real quick here before we get into the Jalon Daniels and Dean Miller stuff, on that point of the stadium and of practicing in the stadium, it seems like something so minor to be like, why is it relevant that they practice in the stadium before they play in it? I don't know if you could speak to that, the importance of that, of just from a player perspective of being, getting familiar with playing in that situation, understanding the sight lines, understanding the stadium, just everything like that. I mean, how significant could that be for KU?
Yeah, understanding how the lights hit it, all of those different things are factors. If you remember, Nick, last year, LJ Arnold actually made a comment about when they went to Arrowhead and the field kind of has that little grade to it. He talked about going up for a catch and putting his legs down and the ground wasn't there because it was kind of bent down. And so getting to practice on it, you get a feel for all of those different things. Like you said, the sidelines, the way that the ball looks when it's coming at you, the way that the lights hit the field, shadowing, all of those different things can make an impact, and just getting a general feel for it as well, I think is a good deal. And this is a program, obviously, that had a lot of inconvenience over the last year with having to go and play those games in Kansas City, with not really having the full football complex to enjoy with all the things going on there, with having to practice in different spots as construction things were going on. And so all of a sudden, to be able to be in your football complex, walk out to the football field right there and practice, and it's the same football field that you're going to be playing a game in. Don't sleep on the convenience that Kansas is going to have this year, because they didn't have that a year ago.
And when it comes to the stadium, it looks fantastic on the inside. I mean, it looks, from what we could see, it looks really good. Obviously, I'm sure many people have seen the pictures and videos that KU's been putting out. It looks fantastic, but don't get it twisted. I mean, we're a month away from the season. It is still very much an active construction zone everywhere else around the stadium. Obviously, they are working around the clock to get it all ready to go for opening day. Travis Goff has reiterated on several different occasions that they're still on schedule. So there's certainly still a lot of moving parts happening just beyond the stadium itself being completed. So certainly I hope that they can continue to expedite that process and expedite that work and get it ready to go so that, when fans show up on that first game on week 0 against Fresno State, it doesn't look like an active construction zone, because in some ways it still will be. I mean, remember, this is not just the stadium. We're talking about they're going to be building conference centers, hotels. I mean, this is the gateway project. So I would suspect, I guess we haven't really had any clarification on that. Maybe if we get a chance to hear from Travis Goff at some point in the near future, I would suspect that even during the season, there's going to be probably active ongoing construction at or near the stadium, if I had to guess. So we'll see how that plays into it. But for now, the stadium on the inside looks amazing from what we've been able to see. Obviously, we haven't had a chance to really get in there and see it yet. But it looks really good from the outside looking in, and everything seems to be on schedule for now, as far as we can tell. So that's positive as well.
Yeah, and Lance Leipold's car will thank it not being a
Lance Leipold made it.
As he just mentioned in the clip you just saw, talking about having to wash the car and everything with it being an active construction zone. There was definitely a time period there where if you wash it on Wednesday, it's just going to be dirty again on Thursday. So.
Yeah. So that was Lance Leipold. We'll take one more quick break. We had a chance to hear from a couple of players who stepped to the podium on Thursday, both Jalon Daniels and Dean Miller. We'll get to that coming up on the other side.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
This is the Paid Podcast on the Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Nick Springer here with Kevin Flaherty. Day 1 of fall camp in the books, but there's going to be many days upcoming. You'll want to stay subscribed, stay following us on Twitter at PaidKCSN for more content updates from different coaches, players who we're going to have a chance to hear from at fall camp. We had a chance to hear from Lance Leipold, who you just heard from in the previous segment, and we'll get to hear from the coordinators, get to hear from other positional coaches and players as well. So you'll absolutely want to keep your notification settings on and stay subscribed over the next month leading up to the season. And then, of course, once the season starts, we'll be bringing you great analysis of the actual games. We'll have real games to talk about as well, breaking that down heading into the season and beyond. So Jalon Daniels comes into this fall camp in 2025 fully healthy, fully locked in, fully ready to go. And we had a chance to hear him talk about a little bit of that and much more. Here's everything that KU's quarterback 1 had to say after day 1 of fall camp.
JD Sleeve said you've been a little less smiley, wild, crazy, rambunctious, and more focused. There it is. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the mental aspect of the game is gives me more clarity. I mean, I'm the old young guy on the team. It's no secret. I mean, I'm going on year 6 here at the University of Kansas, but I mean, I'm one of the oldest, youngest college football returning quarterbacks in the nation. So I feel like that's something you have to be able to show the guys. A lot of young guys who are, looking up to be able to find out the way and the ropes of how we operate the program. And sometimes it's not always about being the happy, funny guy. Sometimes you have to be able to, show that when it's time to win, that's the main goal, to be able to try to win every single game. So, and sometimes it's about being able to show everybody that.
So that was by design then? I mean, was this a conversation you had with someone or just something that clicked in your head? Or where did it come from?
I mean, I feel like it's just something that, every offseason I go and to see, what I need to do to be able to help the team, be better. What I can do to be able to put my best foot forward for the team every single day. And, it's no secret. We have, 50 new scholarship players on this team, on this roster. So, I feel like that's something that's happened with me internally. Last year, I had a whole bunch of guys who were here when Coach Leipold first got here. Now I have a whole entire new team who are trying to learn the ropes while also trying to be successful under the umbrella of doing so. So it's definitely a happy medium in between both that I have to be able to have. But, I'm looking forward to taking on the challenge.
You said at media days you're really going to try to be intentional about soaking things up in this final year. This is the kind of the first big milestone of the year. Is it starting to hit you more and more that the season's a month away?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's my official first day of fall camp as a college quarterback, and I look back at all the fall camps that I've had, even the fall camp where Coach Leipold wasn't here yet, and I look at every single year and try to be able to take in the experience. And today was the very first day of the last one, so went out there, had a great experience, having fun with the guys, playing football, because at the end of the day, it's kind of what we all been looking forward to, and the excitement of playing football again was absolutely out there on the field. You were able to see that in practice.
I was wondering, do you have a good relationship with Daniel Highshaw? Coach was talking about you were two guys that both kind of dealt with injuries during your time, and you're both going into your final year. Just what's that relationship like between you guys?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's no secret. He's another guy who got here in 2020 before Coach Leipold got here, and I believe it's only 3 or 4 of us left on the team from that 2020 original class that got here. So our relationship is definitely tight. I mean, to be able to see, Daniel Highshaw step in a lot of different lights, especially in a leadership role, being vocal no matter what, time it is, when things are going good, when things are going bad, you hear him all over the field. And I think that a lot of the guys on the team are able to test for that.
Speaking of that perspective, being here since 2020, could you comment on this last official first day of fall camp taking place in the shadow of a new stadium, where things have come around here, and does that motivate you guys to take another step on the field this season?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, we're practicing on the practice field right now, but, a lot of the guys got a chance to be able to step out on the game field yesterday to actually be able to go see the field with their own feet in the ground. So, when we're practicing on the practice field, we get the chance to see the rock chalk on the home side of the stadium while we're practicing. So it's definitely exciting. It's something that we're excited to be able to get to practice on that field for the first time, to be able to get a field of being in the game field. But we're looking forward to it.
You touched on this a little bit, but this fall camp, whether it's it being your last one, whether it's being healthier, how did today feel different maybe from other in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, first of all, we have a lot of new guys on the team, but it didn't feel that way. I feel like a lot of the new people who come into the program over this offseason have come in and, were prepared to work. It's not like we just went over the very first installing an offense. We went in and we went into an offense that we're continuing from years prior. So hats off to all of the new players who've come into the program, eager to learn, eager to be able to learn how we do things, and have been able to execute, especially when they want to practice.
In the spring, Johnny Thompson had mentioned that you would kind of serve as a mentor for him in some ways, with you guys both being from California. I was just wondering what that relationship is like and what you think about him as a player and person.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, to be able to see him work his tail off every single day, coming in as a freshman, not really knowing how college football is going to work, going through the ups and downs of college football, realizing that, it's no longer high school football, and to be able to see him lock into the little things that he needs to do on and off the field has been tremendous. He's a California kid, like you said, went to Oaks Christian, which is a school that I know a few people that went to, and I feel like being able to talk to him during his process of getting here it helped a lot, be able to grow our connection before he got here. And he felt like I was somebody that he was able to lean on to when things got rough, and when, you're entering the college football realm of everything. And I think that he's adjusted well. So it's exciting to be able to see, the amount of steps that he's taken, the improvement that he's taken over his couple of years here. And I'm very interested to be able to see what he does this fall camp.
That was Jalon Daniels speaking with the media at the podium after day one of fall camp. Again, great to hear from him. Great to see him smile. Great to see him really in high spirits, I think. And hopefully that will inspire a little bit more confidence from the outside of this guy is ready to go. And this is a big season for him to prove to himself, I think, really more than anything. And also to prove to the outside that he is the type of player that he can be. And obviously the type of player that we've seen him be at times over the course of his career. So really excited to see Jalon Daniels back out fully healthy over the course of this season. On the defensive side, Dean Miller has seemingly rose up to be one of the big leaders on the defensive side of the ball for Kansas after emerging last year and making an All Big 12 postseason team last year as a pass rusher. Here is everything that Dean Miller had to say when speaking with the media after day one of fall camp.
Dean, what was it like getting started with fall camp today?
Man, it was good. It was one of those days, first day coming out fall camp, had to be ready to work. It was hot, humid out there, weather hard out there, but just fighting through it, yeah.
Has it kind of set in that this is going to be your last go around, and you have a different mentality going into this fall camp?
100%. Coach DK, on defense, he always stresses that seniors, there's no do-overs, so got to make the most of it, make the last ride count.
What's it like getting started with such a new group in the defensive end?
You might think, since there's so many people coming in, that it might be weird to, just get going with different people, but I feel like the people who have came in, like Fink, Bray, really everybody who's coming in has just done a great job at just implementing themselves in smoothly and just catching up with the game plan. So I'm definitely excited to work with all of them.
And in the defense as a whole, is there anybody who's kind of stuck out to you, maybe surprised you, who's kind of come to the forefront?
Oh, for sure. You look at someone like Justice Bingley, coming from Texas, playing on the other side of me. I feel like he has all the tools he needs to succeed, as well as Bengali Kamara at linebacker. I could go down the line talking about people at every position, but at the end of the day, we're going to come out, play our defense, play our game, and, you're going to see when the first game comes around who's coming to play.
And with Coach O, how much fire and intensity did he come with today?
Oh man, he brought it. He brought it from the very first individual period when we were coming over from our pursuit drill. He knew it. He saw the look in our eyes. He's like, just getting us going. Knew the weather was going to be a factor, but just trying to keep us going all the time.
Justice is on the leadership council. What has he done to, establish himself as one of the leaders of the team?
Yeah, for sure. Justice, I feel like he definitely asserts himself as a leader. Not just from his talk and what he says to his group, although he brings a whole lot of knowledge, no doubt about that. But really just by his actions, the way he goes about things, the way he works, people see that and it rubs off on them, and the younger guys look at him and kind of as an example, someone to follow, for sure.
So Coach Lee said the same thing about his actions.
Right.
What are some maybe examples of that?
For sure. It could just be the way he goes about going through drills. Say we're working an individual period, just the way, the intensity he does it. It doesn't matter if he's tired, if he maybe has a low nagging injury. It doesn't matter what it might be. He's going to show up, be the same man every day. So, yeah.
With the simplicity that DK has emphasized, how does that feel different for you when you're on the field going through something like a practice?
100%. I feel like it's definitely been really beneficial, just allowing me to play faster. Game speed's a huge thing. When you could eliminate the thinking aspect of it and really just go back to playing ball, it makes things much easier. Just simplifies things.
About a month out from the first game, how amped up are you to go out to the new booth?
Oh, I'm super stoked. I'm sure you guys have seen the new stadium too. It's really coming together now, progressing. The field's getting laid down. I can't be more excited.
Are there any younger guys in the defensive end group that you've kind of taken under your wing and kind of been a mentor to?
100%, yeah. First guy that comes to mind is Garrett Martin. I feel like he's a young guy, but he's definitely going to develop into something special. And another guy, Dak Brinkley, although he's not really as young anymore, I feel like he definitely has the opportunity to step into a big role this year.
That was defensive end Dean Miller speaking with the media after day one of fall camp on Thursday. And again, the content's going to continue to flow from fall camp. Excited to hear from other players, coaches. To have a chance to speak with Matt Gildersleeve on Thursday. That will be on our YouTube channel. I think probably will be up later this weekend as well if you want to hear everything he had to say. He's a very energetic guy, and he's very passionate about what he does. So if you want to have a feeling that you want to run through a brick wall, just take a listen to what he has to say, I think, and you'll start feeling that way. Even me, who I've hardly played football, I don't have a football body. Obviously, I'm a smaller guy. I'm not really an aggressive personality, so I'm not great when it comes to shit hitting people. That wasn't necessarily me. But when I hear Matt Gildersleeve speak, I sometimes feel that fury inside, I guess. Okay, Kevin, real quick here before we wrap up the show here from day one. Any other final concluding thoughts you wanted to get to from day one?
I'm really ready for day two, Nick. It's always exciting to start camp, and appreciate the way that KU sort of has it set up to where we can catch a little bit of practice. We get to talk to guys kind of almost every day for practice and everything. And so it was, I woke up this morning whistling a little bit, excited to get out there, but also first football game's less than a month away. And so I think this camp is going to fly by pretty quickly.
And we will be having periodic episodes documenting what we're seeing, how we're feeling, reacting to fall camp as it unfolds. But again, on our social media, on Twitter, you'll be able to see pictures and videos from every day that we're out there. On our YouTube channel, we'll have tons of video content being posted there as well. So absolutely want to stay locked in here with us on the KC Sports Network. And thank you if you have been doing so for the past year plus. It's been an incredible journey for us. And I've talked about it before, but I'm really more thankful than anything to be on this ride again for a second season here on KCSN with you, Kevin, and with all of our great folks that join us each and every show. So appreciate you, appreciate our listeners, and we'll talk again very soon. But until next time, he's Kevin Flaherty. I'm Nick Springer. See ya.